Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The lower chamber of the Polish Parliament, the Sejm, today adopted a law on the single additional cash benefit for pensioners. Payments of the 13th pension, equal to 1 month's state pension, will be made in May. Some 11 million pensioners will each receive a payment of 900 zlotys after tax.
Who is for the bill in its entirety, as in the draft version 3342, please record your vote yes by raising your hand and pressing the button. Thank you. Who is abstaining? Thank you. The number of voting representatives was 418. Votes for, 396. Votes against, 3. Abstentions, 19. I announce that the Sejm has passed the law regarding a one-time extra pension for retirees and disability recipients due for the year 2019.
The European Parliament has adopted a new law on international transport. Polish MEPs have consistently opposed the regulations, which have aroused a lot of controversy in Poland, where it is believed that they discriminate unfairly against Polish transport firms. Polish MEPs announced that they will appeal against the voting procedure to the European Court of Justice in Luxembourg. A further round of negotiations between the government and the teachers' unions is scheduled for tomorrow. The Deputy Prime Minister, Beata Szydło, announced that the government will put forward new proposals to resolve the issue, since the previous talks did not achieve a compromise. If the two sides fail to reach a consensus, teachers and school workers are expected to begin a nationwide strike next week.
Yesterday, the subsequent last chance meeting left the contentious issue of teachers' salaries at an impasse. Since nothing substantial was achieved after several hours of negotiations, Deputy Prime Minister Beata Szydło said that the meeting was being rescheduled for Friday at 8 a.m. The government side is expected to put forward new proposals.
We are analyzing our options. However, we will also be trying to respond to the propositions provided by the workers' union. We will return to our negotiations on Friday at 8 a.m.
During the second round of Wednesday talks, the Polish Teachers Association and the Workers' Union Forum put forward new proposals. We are upholding the 30% salary increase in 2019. Our proposal envisions the rise being implemented over 2 parts, 15% from January 1st, the other 15% from September 1st. We are waiting for the government's approval. However, we are slightly worried now that Deputy Prime Minister Szydło hinted at the announcement of their own proposal. According to the opposition, the government does not have a credible offer for the teachers.
It turns out that Mr. Proksa from the Solidarity Union is a member of Law and Justice, so you could say that the two sides are arguing for the same side. The strike may stop the agreement between the government and the Polish Teachers Union. So far, the government is proposing moving funds from one pocket to another. They will give the teachers a pay rise, but at the same time, they will revoke any bonuses.
According to the Polish Teachers Association, 15.5 thousand out of 20,000 schools and preschools support the strike.
The Sultanate of Brunei, a small oil-rich state on the island of Borneo, has adopted Sharia laws allowing, amongst others, for the stoning to death of homosexuals, the amputation of hands for theft, and whipping for adultery and abortion. Hassan al-Bolkiah, the Sultan of Brunei, said that he wished to emphasize that Brunei is a country devoted in its worship of Allah, and that these laws will bring joy to its people.
The death penalty by stoning for homosexuality, hand amputation for theft, whipping for adultery and abortion. These and other severe punishment provided by Sharia law are being introduced into the penal code of the small Sultanate of Brunei. According to its Sultan, Hassan al-Bolkiah, Sharia law will bring joy to its people. Our system is based on the conception of a just and happy nation in which people are united. That system is very attractive for the rest of the world. Anybody who will travel to that country will be able to experience a safe and harmonious atmosphere. That is the reality of Brunei. Without this ideology, Brunei does not exist. The introduction of such severe punishment has met strong opposition from the international community.
If this law is actually enforced, it will be a real setback for the human rights of the people of Brunei. And we're talking about a country which has maintained a moratorium on the death penalty since 1957. So they have not executed anyone since 1957. And this would be a huge setback for the people of Brunei.
US celebrity George Clooney is boycotting Hotel hotels belonging to the Brunei Investment Agency, whose chairman is Brunei's Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah. All the celebrities have backed Clooney's boycott, including Elton John, a declared homosexual. I commend my friend George Clooney for taking a stand against the anti-gay discrimination and bigotry taking place in the nation of Brunei.
Tomorrow, the country of Brunei will start stoning gay people to death. We need to do something now. Please boycott these hotels owned by the Sultan of Brunei. Raise your voices now. Spread the word. Rise up.
No boycott can impress Brunei's Sultan. Thanks to Brunei's enormous oil and natural gas resources, he's one of the richest men in the world. His fortune is estimated to about $20 billion.
The House of Lords today began debating a bill which would force Prime Minister Theresa May to seek a delay to Brexit to prevent the United Kingdom leaving the European Union on April the 12th without a deal, something which most believe would be a very damaging result. The aim is to debate the bill, which needs the approval of the House of Lords to become law, in a single day. On Wednesday, the House of Commons approved the bill by a single vote.
While it is true that there have been expedited proceedings in times of emergency or for security measures or measures relating to Northern Ireland, those expedited proceedings have normally taken place when both sides of the House agreed that it was necessary. This measure is being introduced when it was opposed by the government.
That's it from the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.
Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily Weather. Tonight the temperatures will vary from 5 degrees in the area of Olsztyn as well as in Białystok and up to 11 degrees in Katowice, Wrocław as well as in Poznań. Clear skies in the areas of Koszalin and Gdańsk and no showers will appear tonight. If we look at the forecast for tomorrow, we will see that the maximum temperature will be 22 degrees in Krakow, 21 degrees will be seen in Katowice with showers as well, and 20 degrees in Zielona Góra and Wrocław. The minimum temperature tomorrow will be 14 degrees in the northeast around Białystok, also in Gdańsk, and central Poland will see 18 degrees. This is all for tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to the Poland Daily Economics Report. With us in the studio is Dr. Cezary Mech from the Capital Market Association. Hello. And Mr. Kamil Orzeł, member of the board of the Republican Foundation. We'll talk about national themes we've prepared for today. The VAT matrix returns to the game and a new proposal from President Andrzej Duda. 50% of teachers' gross salaries will be tax-exempt. And we will also talk about Polish industry. We have two factors on one hand. PMI, which is done on a very small group of about 203 companies, and also Polish industry surveys carried out by the Central Statistical Office. We have a data split because, on the one hand, when it comes to the first measure, it indicates that we had a recession in Polish industry. But the Central Statistical Office indicates that production increased by 7% year on year. And how did it happen that economists discovered it so recently?
The
gap that we have between the Statistical Office data and the surveys obtained from the PMI is maybe due to the fact that there is, firstly, one industry overrepresented. Secondly, this sample is relatively small. Well, this may be one of the indications that the methodologies that we use now, measuring different factors to measure the economic situation, are inherently imperfect. However, looking at the development of these indicators, they show that there has been a slowdown for some time, and it could really be said that it is quite logical considering the development of other hard indicators, which the Central Statistical Office publishes on the one hand, however, the slowdown in industry, while on the other, stock price increases.
Więc można powiedzieć, niezależnie od tego, że zastrzeżeń co do reprezentatywności.
So you can say, regardless to the representativeness of the data, you should take into account that the slowdown is coming and is associated, however, with the weakening of economic growth and actually the recession processes as well as Brexit and trade war threats with the United States and with the German economy, on which we are very dependent.
Ze Stanami Zjednoczonymi, gospodarce niemieckiej, od której jesteśmy bardzo znacząco uzależnieni.
Ale mniej niż kiedyś. Nowa propozycja prezydenta
President Andrzej Duda's new proposal for teachers would see 50% of teachers' gross salaries becoming tax exempt, meaning that thanks to this solution, teachers would receive from 100 to about 300 zlotys more take-home pay without a salary increase. But teachers demand 1,000 zlotys. According to calculations, it would cost about 5 to 7 billion zlotys in total. Gentlemen, can the Polish economy afford to give teachers a 1,000 zloty pay increase if it costs 7 billion?
Jeśli to kosztuje 7 miliardów.
Znaczy, ja powiem w ten sposób. Wydaje się, że
I will say it this way. It seems that there are two issues regarding wage dissatisfaction in Poland. I have repeatedly called for, in these very shows, not to slow down wage growth by importing immigrants. Because at this point, let's say, are such expectations that Poles would earn similar as in other European Union countries. On the other hand, the tax base spreads.
Powiedzmy, te oczekiwania dotyczące tego, żebyśmy zarabiali podobnie jak w Unii Europejskiej, a z drugiej strony ta baza podatkowa się rozchodzi. W praktyce to oznacza, że z jednej strony są olbrzymie.
In practice, that means enormous burdens on the social functions of the state, which do not decrease, and on the other hand, this tax base is not adequately growing.
A z drugiej strony, to są ta baza podatkowa, która adekwatnie nie rośnie. I zauważmy, i spójrzmy na to pod względem, powiedzmy, takim porównawczym.
Let's look at this in comparative terms. It turns out that in terms of OECD, teachers in Poland earn half as much. As for the earnings of unskilled people, let us say that this proportion is even
One są,
worse.
powiedzmy, ta proporcja jest jeszcze gorsza. Ale też zauważmy jedną rzecz, że według tych statystyk...
But also notice one thing. According to these statistics, teachers earn in Poland 85% of what others in the same class do when considering education and qualifications. If we translate it into an indicator regarding how much they work in the hourly aspect, it just looks quite similar.
Wychodzi po prostu bardzo podobnie.
Doctor, where does this dissatisfaction come from?
Oni nie pracują 40 godzin, zarabiają
Expectations about how much you can earn by becoming an unskilled worker and emigrating are significantly higher, and this dissatisfaction must manifest itself in society and in Poland.
Są znacząco wyższe i to niezadowolenie musi się przejawiać.
At the same time, I would emphasize one thing. That when it comes to such propositions regarding the increase in wages in this way, the proposal of the president is extremely artificial.
Nawet propozycje dotyczące wzrostu wynagrodzeń, to powiem tak, propozycja...
Because the cost of gaining some income really should be related to the fact that someone has some expenses that should not be taxed.
Uzyskania jakiegoś przychodu to naprawdę powinno być związane z tym, że ktoś ma jakieś nakłady, wydatki, które nie powinny być opodatkowane.
Here, that is achieved only and exclusively by reducing taxes
poprzez sztuczne obniżenie podatków o połowę. Przy czym...
Ale mamy niezadowolenie.
But we have social dissatisfaction.
Dokończmy, proszę zauważyć, dlaczego mówię sztuczne.
Let me finish. Why do I say artificial? Because it means that it is all the same whether we increase the expenses for this amount or we will also reduce taxes for this amount.
Kwotę zmniejszymy podatki.
In any case, it is a teacher's fight for better conditions. Mr. Kamil.
Tak, znaczy tutaj jest kilka kwestii. W pierwszej kolejności może nie do końca zgodzę się z moim...
Here are a few issues. In the first place, I do not quite agree with the previous speaker that this is all the same, but because somewhere along the way, we have the cost of handling this process, which in the case of the president's proposal would be much lower.
Po drugie, jeżeli chodzi o samą podwyżkę...
Secondly, it is about the raise itself. 1,000 1,000 zlotys or 300 zlotys, and whether Poland can, so to speak, afford that. Let's look at this with a bit wider perspective. That is, only not from the ruling party perspective, but also from the entire political scene. The opposition's chairman Schetyna announced that regardless of what the government will do now, if they come to power, then for this amount of 1,000 zlotys, they will deliver this raise. This shows that there is a question when the increase will actually be introduced. Of course, here you should be aware that politicians often announce one thing, but later, when it comes to exercising power, their decisions are completely different.
Kiedy przychodzi do służby w sprawowaniu władzy, te decyzje są zupełnie inne.
When it comes to teachers, this is very much related to the local government. And just an example from Poznan, President Jaśkowiak gave this raise, probably 800 zlotys, and considering that most large cities are ruled by civic platform, they can start doing it. We are waiting for President Trzaskowski. Doctor?
Znaczy, jako były przewodniczący Komisji Finansów Związków Miast Polskich, chciałbym po prostu podkreślić...
As former chairman of the Commission on Finance of Polish City Unions, I would like to emphasize the fact that it is absurd because there are claims with real respect to the national government, while it is known that this sphere is owned by local and regional governments. Few people notice that 50% of tax revenue is given to local and regional authorities.
Więc problem jest tak naprawdę strukturalny i polega na tym, że właśnie ten proces, o którym powiedziałem, hamowania wynagrodzeń.
So the problem is really structural, and it depends on the fact that it is the process under which I've told you to freeze wages. Because if local governments were to get a greater share of tax revenue, they would be able to finance their expenses, so to say, very coherently, and thereby spend more on teachers'
swoich
salaries.
wydatków, że tak bardzo powiem, bardzo spójnie, a więc i wydatkując więcej na wynagrodzenia dla nauczycieli.
Doctor, I will summarize here that you mean if fewer immigrants appeared in Poland, the employees would have a better position. Wages would grow and tax revenue would increase, whether as personal income tax or later when we go to stores as VAT. There are more receipts both in the local government and the central budget, and then it would be easier to give such an increase.
Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily Weather. Tomorrow the temperatures will be very high in the area of Krakow and Katowice, 22 to 21 degrees. Also 20 degrees will be seen in the area of Wrocław and Zielona Góra, 18 degrees in Warsaw as well as in Łódź, where some showers will appear as well. Also Lublin will see 18 degrees together with Szczecin. The minimum temperature will be 14 degrees in the area of Gdańsk and Białystok. Tomorrow in Europe, the warmest places will be Berlin, Bratislava, Prague and Bucharest with 20 degrees all over those places. The coolest will be the area of Oslo and Stockholm with 8 degrees Celsius. A significant cool down in Lisbon, 13 degrees. Also in Madrid, we will see only 11 tomorrow. This is all for tonight. Thank you.
The Scouting Association of the Polish Republic was founded on the 12th of February in 1989. At present, the Scouting Association has over 15,000 members. It is an associate member of the Confederation of European Scouts. The Scouting Association is a public benefit organization that was established in 1989. It aims to continue the traditions and educational thought of several generations of Polish Scouts. The roots of the ZHR, or the Scouting Association, date back to 1980, when the Circle of Scouting Instructors was created. Andrzej Małkowski gathered together independent environmental scouts and instructors. The Scouting Association of the Republic is a community of friends, children, youth, and adults who, based on Christian values, through scout leaders, work on themselves to help others, they seek adventure, and pursue other elements of the scouting life that educate a person to find a life full of happiness, to be responsible for oneself and for one's fellow citizens, and to take on the challenges of the modern world.
I'm here with Michał Orlik. He's a scout leader in Lublin and office manager here in Warsaw. Michał Orlik, welcome to Poland Daily Culture.
Hello, be prepared.
Yes, scouting motto, that's right.
Scout greet, something like this maybe.
Yeah. So do you choose specific areas that you walk through the forest and you discuss and you say, okay, we will choose this specific area, or do you revisit the same places each year?
No, not exactly. Forest ranger has got few places where we can build our camp, and we need to choose from these few places.
Okay, and so tell us, how does a kind of typical day when you're in the forest, camping, etc., how does it look for you and for the scouts there?
Okay, so we get up at 7 o'clock or 8:30. Then we are praying together. Then we've got physical beginning of the day, so we are running somewhere and we are making physical exercises. Then we are going to take a shower, but it's not the same shower as in the house, because the shower is in the lake or in the near the river.
Okay, so the scout leader, he has everyone lined up and he says what's going to be happening during the day?
Yes, that's it. And the flag is going up. Anthem, scout anthem, yeah. Yes, and then we have breakfast, and we are making scout things. For example, we are having games. We are learning some new things. There is a competition between scout groups.
What sort of thing do sort of young scouts particularly enjoy learning? Well, what's quite typical? What are they most enthusiastic about?
Okay, I think that the best thing to learn for young people is how to make a fire. How to make a fire when it's raining, for example, or when you don't have
matches.
Matches, yeah. When you don't have matches, or how to get a message to the other guys as quick as it's possible. For example,
smoke signals?
Smoke signals, Morse alphabet, semaphore.
So yeah, now I can definitely see it is this kind of traditional style of scouting, if there's things like smoke signals, etc.
Yes, that is.
Okay. So maybe what else do they do in terms of when they leave the camp? What type of adventure?
When they leave the camp, yes?
Well, they're still in the forest,
okay.
But what type of adventures do they have when they go on kind of missions?
Okay, so for example, we have trips.
Yeah.
Trips, it's 2 or 3 days, and we are walking, we are hiking, and we are just visiting our beautiful country.
During Holy Mass on World Youth Day in Krakow, Pope Francis announced that Panama would be the next host for a world meeting of Scouts. A meeting in the Southern Hemisphere was a distant target for the ZHR Scouts from Poland. The president of Panama, appreciating the involvement of ZHR in medical security, invited their representatives to meet. Participation in World Youth Day on the border between the Americas, that is Panama, between North and South America, and being in Central America is a perfect place for this gathering. The entire Polish Scouting organization, in particular the Scout Volunteer Ambulance Service, are preparing themselves for this event.
What type of preparation and skills are you trying to give them for future life by doing this?
Good people, religious people, and people who are taking care of their family and also for their country.
Society, yeah, in general, okay. It definitely seems to me like it gives a sense of independence as well for people, that they have the kind of confidence to be independent in what they do. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's our mission.
And so, could you tell us a little something about also the discipline that is instilled? So you're trying to give discipline to the Scouts.
I can say that we are helping parents to give the discipline to the parents. They are more important than us giving the discipline. Of course, that's yes. But we are helping them because for young people it is important to have good friends. I mean, good friends that they will do good things together, not bad things.
So maybe we could talk a little bit of something about what people get from the forest as well. Like, why is it that it's important for Scouts to go to the forest?
I think it's because when we are in the forest, we are a part of nature. And we can see how nature works, we can help nature, and we can gain some things from the nature.
So, just changing gears slightly, last year Poland celebrated its 100th anniversary of regaining independence. Could you tell us something about how the Scouting Association celebrated this occasion?
Okay, we've got a special program, this program called Niepodległa 1918-2018. And the part of this program was, for example, the Flame of the Independence. The Flame of the Independence was an action that people in Poland and also abroad were setting bonfires one day before the National Day of the Independence, so on the 10th of November. Yes, and during these bonfires, they were reading about the history of our country. They were talking, and they were just spending time together.
Okay, and why was it important for people from different countries? I mean, you say people, Poles in foreign countries. Why was it important for them to do that?
They want to get back to Poland, but they couldn't. For me, it's important to give them a part of Polish culture, Polish feelings, just feelings from the country, because you can live abroad, but you've got Poland in your heart always.
Maybe you could tell us something also about if there are any specific annual, so yearly events that the Scouts celebrate.
I think that most common thing for all of scouting organizations is World Thinking Day.
What's that?
Okay, it's on 22nd of February. And it's the date of birth of Robert Baden-Powell. Yes, he was inventor of the scouting. Yeah. On this day, scouts all over the world, they are celebrating that they are the part of the scouting movement. They are sending greetings to other people, and at this day, this word that I said at the beginning, so the be prepared, is the most important word.
Or the most important phrase for Scouts, yes. Yeah. And
not only on this day, but this day it's celebrating. Yeah.
It has more significance, yeah.
Yes.
So in a way, then it's celebrating the founder of Scouting. Is there something more? Like, for example, I've heard about Polish Scout Girls' Day. This is another annual Scouting event.
Yes, it's the first Sunday of October. This Polish Scout Girl Day. Well, I think that this question will be better for girls because, as boy, I'm celebrating this day that I'm happy that there are also Scout girls, because the world without girls will be nothing. So
clearly, what would you say that Scouting has really given you more than anything else in your life?
It's something about taking responsibility for the other people. I'm glad to be a Scout, because I think that all of the things that I'm doing in my adult life is because of the Scouting. So the Scouting was a compass for me to be where I am now.
Michał Orlik, thank you very much for joining us here at Poland Daily Culture.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Poland Daily History. Today we are at Hotel Europejski, one of the most expensive hotels in all of Poland. The secret to keeping such a prestigious status relies on preserving history and providing luxurious accommodation. Today we will learn more about one of the most exclusive jewels of Warsaw.
Our guest today is Mr. Ksawery Wąsowski, a direct descendant of Aleksander Przeździecki, who decided to build Warsaw's first luxury hotel of international standards in 1855. After returning to Poland from the US in the early 90s, Mr. Wąsowski has been documenting the long and interesting history of Hotel Europejski.
Ever since the construction of the hotel in 1855, which I imagine is the most modernized hotel at the time, but as time goes by, however, there must be like new renovations and new advances made to the construction or just the way it's run as a whole. And I was wondering if you can give us some details about how the hotel get with the times.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. When the hotel first opened up, well, one of the advances was they had running water.
Right.
The first water mains ran right in front of the building to go into Ogród Saski, so they had running water. Mm-hmm. And then over time, yes, certain advances such as electricity was installed. In 1878, when the last wing of the hotel was completed after Hotel Gerlacha was knocked down, more advances were put in, including Poland's first elevator, 1877. Then in 1880, Polish two gentlemen, Penkala Stofringen, leased the building from the family owners, and they ran the hotel for 12 years. So they were obliged by their contract to also install various advances in the hotel. Ironically, they did not install central heating, which was already being installed in various places, but not in a hotel. It was decided that that is not healthy. Having furnaces, tiled furnaces in each room that heated each room was considered still more healthy. So that had to wait several more years before that advance came to be in the hotel. Then really up until the time when the Hotel Bristol was built in 1901, no more grand changes were made.
Right. I understand that these technological advances are not only just pioneers in Poland, but also like in Europe as a whole. This is very advanced and ahead of its time in the 1870s.
Certainly, all these advances were taking place throughout the world, really. When the elevators were being installed, this was quickly recognized as something that was an ease for the clients, for the guests. Electricity also, it was much better to have electric lamps than to have the old gas-burning lamps, which put soot on the ceilings of all the rooms. So everything that was figured out in the world as far as technology was quickly put into place.
So aside from the hardware and the technological upgrades that we just talked about, what about the businesses that were conducted throughout the times? Do they have any changes as time progresses, like shops come and go and different kind of business being conducted down here in the hotel?
Certainly, because it was such a large building, there was space to have various businesses. It wasn't just a hotel. So there was, let's say, on one corner, there was a gun shop, sold the nicest hunting rifles, Purdy, Holland and Holland, for instance. There was a furniture store here for many years, Wojciechów, that was in this corner, facing today's presidential palace. There was a cigar shop, Davidov, that was here for a long time. There were also banks, and they had their branch offices here. There was the Davidov cigar and smoke shop. That was 19th century and into the 20th century. There was like an art collective store that was called WAD. That was here for many years. In 1920, Polski Fiat established their most representative salon, where they, in the old Lux cafe shop on the corner, they put their cars inside, and they had, instead of the pastries, you could come and look at the latest cars. And that was there until the war. Then around the corner towards today's front, there was the Piwnica Wien, so there was the wine shop, which they imported wines from France, from Germany, from elsewhere, and some of them they were bottled, others were bought in barrels, and they were actually poured into the bottles here with the Hotel Europejski label put on them, and they were served here in a restaurant or sold. So there was a variety of businesses. Over time it changed. For the guests and for Warsaw's citizens.
Hotel Europejski modernized in two waves. The first, in the 1870s and 1880s, included the introduction of Poland's first elevator in 1877. The second wave came after Hotel Bristol. The first real competition to Hotel Europejski opened in 1901. The management of Hotel Europejski realized that the hotel had to quickly modernize and introduce electric lighting to remain at the absolute forefront of luxury hotels in this part of Europe.
So you were telling me that the renovation and the modernization kind of grind to a halt around the 1880s, but not until the existence of Hotel Bristol, where the first serious contender of this hotel came into place, that became joined into a race of modernization in a very luxurious form. And I was wondering if you can give me details about how things went about.
Well, definitely. Competition is the best for any business. Indeed, the Hotel Europejski, now having about 45 years, met its first competitor directly across the street. When the Hotel Bristol was built, they indeed placed all their latest technological advances. They had a crystal elevator inside. It was really top-notch.
Right.
So the owners of the Europejski decided, well, it's time to do something here. We need to fix a little fixer-upper needs to take place. So in about 1907, 1908, there was major reconstructions done, renewals. All the furniture was changed. Various rooms were remodernized. At that point, electricity, telephones were installed, various rooms. Baths that had, up until then, only been on one floor were installed on various floors, even in some of the rooms. So this was really advanced to be on par with the Bristol.
So aside from the technological changes, what are the other changes or ideas that you had in terms of upgrading the hotel during the turn of the century?
Right, so you can only make the interiors so luxurious, then you have to think either sideways or up. So the idea was to raise the roof and add several floors to the hotel. The foundations were built to withstand the weight of additional floors. Whether by design or by accident or by lack of funds, it wasn't initially done, so we don't know. But around this time, around 1910, 1912, first ideas were and actual plans were put into place by architects Czesław Przybylski, Nagorski also. to add several floors to the hotel. There are plans from 1912 that show this. Unfortunately, World War I happened.
Oh.
So that put an end to those plans. The idea was not revived till afterwards.
Hotel Europejski has 150 years and counting of very interesting history. And the fact that the history is preserved and the personal touch of the place is what gave it the standard for the best hotel in Poland and has set the standard ever since. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. I'll see you next time on Poland Daily History.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Poland Daily Travel. Boy, we got a good show for you. The sun is shining, and we will be going over to Praga, the district of Warsaw, which is on the eastern bank of the Vistula River. We're going to start out, though, on the Holy Cross Bridge. From there to the west, you can see the spires of the gleaming new Warsaw. All those skyscrapers, very impressive. You can also see the old town to the north and the west. And on the east, of course, Old Praga. Praga exists pretty much as it has for many centuries. It was not much destroyed during World War II, and now it's a popular bohemian hangout. We're going to take you for a walk right through the center of the main part of Praga. Action starts at St. Florian's Church. We'll see a milk bar and the Five Musicians statue, and hear a very famous song, A Dream of Warsaw it's called. And it's one of my favorites. We'll stop off at the Praha Cinema. Then we'll go to the market in Praga, the largest market in Warsaw today. The old school outdoor market hasn't changed much in 30 years. So come and have a look at alternative Warsaw. It's called Praga, and it's lots of fun. This is eye candy you'll happily digest. So come along. The next few episodes, we're on the eastern bank of the Vistula in Warsaw, in Praga district. Poland Daily Travel, the best travel about Poland you've ever seen.
Poland Daily Travel, we're here still in Praga, and we are having a lot of fun. The sun is coming out now, just on cue. It's a couple of seconds late, but it did come out, and we're very happy. I'm here with Stan, and we are at the, how do you say it? The
Bazar Różyckiego.
Bazar Różyckiego. And this is one of the famous markets in Warsaw. It's supposed to be the largest market of its kind. You can buy, as you see from this, it says you can buy suits and overcoats and
Kalashnikovs.
And Jack used to be able to buy Kalashnikovs in the old days. And the stadium had a market too.
Yes.
You can change money. There's a fellow asking if you want to change money all the time. So there's a lot of things you can do.
Was said
you see him walking in the background. If you need to change money out there in TV land or on the internet. Yeah, can you tell a little history about it?
So what I know about this place is that it's iconic of Praga. It was founded by Mr. Różycki in, I think, 1901. And what is very interesting about it is that after the war, when Warsaw was completely destroyed, Praga was the first area of Warsaw which came back to life. And a lot of black marketeers, the guys that were hiding and selling in the black market during the war, they went out of the open. But the communists weren't fond of those people because they thought they were like crypto capitalists. So they wanted to destroy those guys. And this is what's interesting about this place is that it was never shut down by the communists. So you could buy all sort of interesting things too. You could also buy dodgy things. And of course, a lot of secret police activity around here.
Talk to me more.
So this became an iconic place, and the communists couldn't shut it down, but it was heavily infiltrated by the commies because a lot of black market things were happening here, and things that were not allowed during communism. So yes, indeed, it's a very iconic place. This bazaar, of course, it doesn't have the place that it used to be because now everything's mauled by big moles, right?
Big malls, not mole. A mole lives under the ground.
I know.
A
But it's
mall
almost like, you know,
is a place you shop. There's one right down the corner.
Yeah, the mall.
There's one right on the corner. By the
big
train
malls
station.
mull the economy.
Well, let's go in and see if we can look around in the market if they'll let us. Okay.
If they let us.
Come with us.
It's a relic of communism here, you know? Like,
yeah, this is something you would only find in this part of the world. I understand that they, in this part of the city actually, on the western side you will never see something like this. This is quaint in a sense. It's going back to almost to pre-capitalism times, yeah?
Yeah.
Or almost back to the 1930s in a way, because it's probably been around that long.
Something like that, but it's also very iconic of the early capitalist era in Warsaw, where you had a lot of places like that, and this thing just has hibernated through time.
Yeah, it's a kind of a, that's the point.
Time capsule.
It's in a time capsule. Well done. You know English better than I do.
Just a few words.
Yeah, there's children's clothes and shirts. And all this stuff is going to be, look at the ties. All this stuff's going to be a lot cheaper than anything you would buy. We see wedding dresses. We see that they're about $200, $250. The expensive one is $300. And this is, you know, weddings are a big thing in Poland. People take getting married very seriously. The whole family comes. You have really large extended families, most people in Poland.
Some people take credit.
Yeah, those who aren't fighting with each other.
Yeah.
Quarreling.
Some people take loans to make a big wedding.
People take, well, they do that everywhere, but I'm sure.
Yeah, but here you can't joke, you know, when you're doing a wedding, it should be a wedding.
It has to be serious,
like
and you invite everyone you know a lot of the time, yeah. Especially if you live in a small town or a village.
Especially there. Oh, so we have tourists
here. So you have all these things having to do with more things for the mortarpere. This is mortarpere. This is a stuff to decorate your car. The road to paradise.
Yeah.
And nice suits.
I'm not married, Will, but I know it's not a road to paradise.
No.
I already know that.
If you need a nice wig, there's a wig for you right there. You put that on your head, and you will look.
Can I put one?
Perfect.
My head?
I don't think so. We don't want to upset these nice ladies. Hello. How are you? Yeah. So you can get your required finery, and it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. And it might not last forever, but it's gonna look good on the day. You know, it'll look good enough on the day, and that's important.
And what is worth mentioning, I probably said it, but these kind of markets used to be the heart of the economy of the 90s, the early 90s. Most of Polish markets were just like that. They just looked like that. That's why it's very interesting, because that's a time capsule.
Yes.
I feel like I'm going back into my childhood. I came here in '91 from Western Europe, and for me, this whole place, those places were incredible, because I didn't really see the grayness of it. I just saw all the things that were happening. And I used to live in Saska Kępa, which hosted the biggest of them on an old communist stadium. It was huge. People said you could even buy a MiG-29 in pieces. From one place to another, you could assemble crazy stuff.
They did sell weapons there, I know that.
Yeah, of course. You could buy Kalashnikovs, all kind of Soviet military, you know, decorations.
Those are not legends.
No, these are not legends.
Truth.
I used to buy my video games there.
Yeah. Now that was where you have the big Warsaw brand new stadium now.
Yes.
Used to be one of these huge markets.
Yes.
I mean, this is the biggest market there is now in Warsaw, and certainly one of its kind. But the stadium, the old stadium,
yes,
and that space where the new stadium is now, was one vast market. They called it the Russian market, in fact, didn't they?
And one interesting fact, I think in the in 95, 1/4 of Polish GDP was centered around in the early 90s. Sorry, like 91, 92. 1/4 of Polish GDP was amassed there. So I mean, it was really huge. This is just like that's nothing compared to it, because it was a multi-level thing, and you could literally buy everything there. And by the way, a lot of early Polish millionaires, billionaires made their fortunes on these kind of markets.
A lot of people started in markets.
Yes.
This fueled...
That's early capitalism. That's how it
Stan
looked.
said, this fueled the growth of entrepreneurs. Because Poles are natural entrepreneurs for some reason, and we're not going to be able to tell you about the economic reasons why. You could probably figure it out for yourselves.
Survival. I would say.
Yeah. Be ready to move, be ready to sell and buy which
Don't wait for the state to do things for you. Ask what you can do for the state, Will, right?
Yeah,
Is that a quote from your great president?
You mean ask not what your state can do for you?
And
ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
I've been to Arlington Cemetery recently, and I've seen the quote.
Yeah.
That's
You're
something,
right. You're right.
And that's something that Kennedy would probably say to all the socialists, the Bernies in America.
Hey, you know, it's shut down for the day, but we're going to walk through the back, so stay with us. Poland Daily will be right back.
That's right.
With the next exciting episode. Okay, stay with us. Or watch us again.
Mm-hmm.